Ever heard the forest breathe? Felt the ground shiver underfoot as something unnatural stalks the shadows? Welcome to the Zombie Story Zone, where the wild isn't just alive, it's undead. Tonight, we're venturing into Pinecrest Forest, a place where the trees hide more than secrets. Where crows watch with milky eyes, deer rot while they run, and every snap of a twig could be your last. Grab your headphones. Turn off the lights. Let the darkness pull you in. This isn't just another campfire tale. This is survival. If your pulse isn't racing yet, hit like, if you dare. Subscribe and smash that bell icon to join our horde of horror addicts. Because when the infected howl again, you'll want to be first in line. Share this story with your bravest friends, if you think they can handle the nightmares. We crave your whispers in the comments. Did your skin crawl? Did you sleep with the lights on? Tell us, and tell us how we can make the dread even thicker. Your screams fuel this channel. Stay close. Stay quiet. And whatever you do, don't look behind you. The next story is already hunting.
It's a thrill, come and let your courage show. Fight or flight, we'll unite as the horror unfolds in the Zombie Story Zone.
The road to Pinecrest Forest was a winding ribbon of cracked asphalt, swallowed on both sides by towering pines. Lena Drummond leaned against her rusted jeep, arms crossed, squinting at the map flapping in the breeze. Her military buzzcut and stern posture made her look like a statue carved from granite. Behind her, Raj Patel fiddled with his first aid kit, counting bandages for the third time. "You're gonna wear those numbers off," Mia Chin teased, adjusting her glasses as she filmed the tree line with her GoPro. Just making sure," Raj muttered, his voice soft but steady. Ellie Carter, the park ranger, emerged from the forest shadows, her boots crunching over dried pine needles. Her uniform was frayed at the edges, and her sun-weathered face tightened as she scanned the group. "Camp's half a mile north," she said, thumbing the radio on her belt. "Stay close. Cell service dies past the trailhead." Jake Torres snorted, slinging his backpack over one shoulder. "Relax, Ranger Barbie. It's just trees and squirrels." His smirk didn't reach his eyes. Ellie's gaze sharpened. "2 hikers vanished here last month. Rangers found their gear shredded. And the squirrels?" She paused. "They've been different lately. Aggressive." Lena folded the map. "Different how?" "Teeth marks on tree trunks. Animals stalking trails in broad daylight. Even the birds," the crow cawed overhead, cutting her off. The sound was too loud, too close. They looked up to see a dozen black shapes perched in the branches, their heads cocked at unnatural angles. Mia zoomed in. "Whoa. Their eyes look milky. Probably just cataracts," Jake said, shrugging. But his knuckles whitened around his water bottle. The campsite was a small clearing bordered by a creek, its water glinting like broken glass in the fading light. Raj gathered firewood while Mia fiddled with a solar charger, muttering about dead zones. Jake pitched his tent near the tree line, ignoring Ellie's warning to stay central. Lena watched him, her hand drifting to the hunting knife on her belt. Old habits. As dusk painted the sky bruise purple, Ellie crouched by the fire, poking the flames with a stick. "This whole forest feels wrong," she said quietly. "Last week, I found a wolf carcass. No wounds. Just rotted from the inside. Like rabies?" Raj asked, rubbing his hands together for warmth. "Rabid animals don't decay while they're still breathing." The fire popped. Somewhere in the dark, a twig snapped. Lena's head jerked toward the sound. "You hear that?" "Relax, Sarge," Jake said, flopping onto his sleeping bag. "It's probably just your buddy Bigfoot." Mia giggled nervously, but the laugh died when a low, guttural growl rippled through the trees. Not a bear. Not a wolf. Something wet. The crow flock erupted from the branches in a cacophony of shrieks, their wings slapping the air like leather. "What the hell?" Jake started. A raccoon waddled into the firelight. Its fur was patchy, revealing grayish skin beneath, and its milky eyes reflected the flames like twin moons. It hissed, bearing needle-sharp teeth dripping with saliva. Lena stepped forward, knife raised, but the creature darted away, moving in a jerky, disjointed gait, as if its bones were glued together wrong. Silence fell, heavy and thick. "Okay," Mia whispered, lowering her camera. "That wasn't in the brochure." Ellie stood, her face pale. "We should leave. Now." Jake rolled his eyes. "Over a rabid raccoon? Chill out. It's just..." A howl cut through the night, long, keening, and wrong. Not canine. Not anything living. The sound crawled into their bones and stayed there. Lena met Ellie's gaze. The ranger's hands trembled. "We stay together tonight," Lena ordered. 2-hour watch shifts. "Raj, you're first." No one argued. By midnight, the forest breathed. Raj sat by the dying fire, clutching a flashlight like a lifeline. The trees creaked and groaned, their branches clawing at the sky. Once, he swore he saw shapes moving just beyond the light, shuffling, jagged things that clicked when they walked. He didn't wake the others. The forest at midnight was a living tomb. The air hung thick with the metallic tang of impending rain, and the fire had dwindled to a skeletal heap of glowing embers. Raj's flashlight beam cut through the darkness like a blade, but the shadows always seemed to swallow it whole. He'd counted every rustle, every creak of branches, until his watch ended and he woke Lena with a nudge. She took his place without a word, her knife balanced on her knees. Sleep didn't come easy for the others. Mia lay stiff in her tent, replaying the raccoon's jerky movements in her mind. Like a puppet with broken strings, she thought. Jake snored loudly, but his face twitched as if trapped in a nightmare. Ellie sat awake, sharpening her pocket knife, her eyes fixed on the trees. It happened at 2:17 a.m. A low, wet gurgle seeped through the camp. Lena froze, her soldiers' instincts firing like alarms. The sound wasn't human. Wasn't animal. It was the noise a drain makes when something clogs it. Up. Now, Lena barked, kicking Jake's tent pole. The group stumbled out, bleary-eyed and bristling. Mia fumbled for her camera. Raj clutched his first aid kit like a shield. Ellie aimed her flashlight into the trees, the beam trembling in her grip. Then they saw it. A deer emerged from the shadows, its body hunched and spasming. Its fur hung in clumps, revealing raw, oozing flesh beneath. The creature's eyes glowed a sickly green, like bioluminescent algae, and its jaw hung slack, unhinged and dripping black saliva. A guttural groan rattled from its throat, a sound that seemed to vibrate in their teeth. "What the actual hell?" Mia whispered, zooming in. The deer's head swiveled toward her, its neck cracking audibly. It charged. Lena moved first. She grabbed the hatchet from the firewood pile and swung. The blade sank into the deer's skull with a wet thunk. The creature collapsed, legs still kicking, its hooves scraping furrows in the dirt. No one spoke. No one breathed. Then the corpse twitched. The deer's head jerked sideways, the hatchet still embedded in its skull. Its remaining eye rolled toward Ellie, and its jaws snapped blindly, teeth gnashing with a sound like grinding glass. Raj stumbled back, tripping over the fire pit. It's not dead. How is it not dead?" Ellie knelt, avoiding the flailing limbs, and shone her light on the creature's exposed ribs. "Look." The bones were blackened, porous, like charcoal. "This thing's been rotting for weeks. But it's still moving." Jake laughed, high and brittle. "Okay, hilarious. Who's messing with us? Hidden cameras?" He gestured wildly at the trees. "Come out, you pricks." "Shut up," Lena snapped. She yanked the hatchet free, and the deer's skull split open, spilling a clump of gelatinous black matter onto the leaves. It reeked of ammonia and decay. Mia gagged, filming the sludge as it writhed, alive, for a few seconds before dissolving. "We need to go," Ellie said, her voice fraying. "Now. Before sunrise." "Over a zombie deer?" Jake spat. "It's just some diseased animal. Rabies, or mange." Raj shook his head, staring at his shaking hands. "Rabies doesn't make corpses walk." Lena wiped the hatchet blade on her jeans. "We're not equipped for this. If there are more. If we bail over a freaky deer, we'll be the joke of every hiking forum forever," Jake interrupted. He kicked the carcass, and its leg lashed out, catching his shin. He yelped, hopping backward. "See? It's barely a threat." Ellie grabbed his arm, her nails digging in. 3 days ago, I found a bear carcass near the ranger station. Its insides were melted. Same black sludge. Whatever this is, it's spreading. And it's not just animals." The words lingered like poison. Mia lowered her camera. "What do you mean, not just animals?" Ellie opened her mouth, then closed it. A branch snapped in the woods. All 5 froze. The forest had gone silent, no crickets, no wind, no rustling leaves. Only the steady drip of sap from the pines. Then, faintly, another wet gurgle echoed in the distance. And another. And another. Lena hefted the hatchet. Pack. Now. They left the deer's corpse smoldering in the fire pit, the smoke reeking of burnt hair. Mia glanced back once, her camera capturing the way the carcass's remaining tendons twitched in the flames. Jake walked ahead, muttering about mass hysteria, but his pace was hurried. Raj's fingers kept drifting to the bite-sized hole in his sleeve where the crow had pecked him earlier. Ellie navigated with a compass, her jaw clenched. Lena took up the rear, her eyes scanning every shadow. No one mentioned the footprints they found an hour later, human-sized, barefoot, with toes too long and nails curled like claws. No one mentioned the bloody handprint on a tree trunk, fingers splayed in panic. And no one dared ask Ellie the question hanging over them like a blade. If the infection isn't just in animals, who else is out here? Morning light did nothing to soften the forest's edges. The trees stood like crooked sentinels, their branches tangled into a cage. Lena circled the jeep, her boots crunching over broken glass. All four tires hung in ribbons, slashed by something with claws thicker than her fingers. This wasn't an animal, she said, running a hand over the jagged gashes in the metal. Not any normal one. Mia crouched beside a tire, filming the damage. Maybe a bear? Ellie shook her head, her face ashen. Bear claws don't leave marks this deep. Or this precise. She traced a gash with her fingertip. The edges were clean, surgical, as if whatever did this knew exactly how to cripple them. Jake kicked the jeep's bumper, his bravado fraying. So what? We hike out. It's 10 miles to the ranger station. Easy. Easy? Raj laughed hollowly, rolling up his sleeve. 3 angry red punctures dotted his forearm from the crow attack. The skin around them had turned grayish, like old meat. We're sitting ducks out there. We're sitting ducks here, Lena snapped. She unzipped her pack, tossing protein bars and water bottles to the group. Move fast. Stay alert. And do not wander off. Ellie took the lead, her compass glinting in the weak sunlight. The trail was overgrown, the dirt scarred with deep grooves, like something heavy had been dragged. Mia lagged behind, snapping photos of claw marks on tree trunks. Guys, look, she whispered. The marks formed a pattern. 3 slashes, a pause, 3 slashes again. Almost like a message? Or a territorial marker, Ellie said, quickening her pace. The forest breathed differently by day. Birdsong had vanished, replaced by a low, insect-like hum that vibrated in their molars. The air smelled sweetly rotten, like fruit left to ferment. Raj kept scratching his arm, the crow bites now oozing a thin, yellowish fluid. Lena made him wrap it, but the bandage soaked through within an hour. They reached a fork in the trail. Ellie hesitated, consulting her map. Left takes us to a creek. Right loops higher, but it's steeper. Left, Lena decided. Water means potential crossings. Maybe a ranger post. Jake lingered, staring at the right path. A scrap of denim fluttered from a thorn bush. Someone went this way. He plucked it free, a patch from a flannel shirt, crusted with dried blood. Recent, too. Leave it, Lena ordered. What if it's the missing hikers? Mia said, her curiosity piqued. We could help. We can't, Ellie interrupted, her voice sharp. This isn't a rescue mission anymore. They took the left path. The creek was a graveyard. Fish floated belly up in the shallows, their scales sloughing off in translucent sheets. A deer carcass lay half-submerged, its ribs picked clean by birds with twisted, too long beaks. Mia vomited into the bushes. Jake just stared, his cocky grin finally dead. The water's toxic, Ellie murmured, dipping a test strip from her kit into the creek. It turned black. Don't touch it. Don't even breathe it in. As they skirted the bank, the hum in the air grew louder. Raj pressed his hands to his ears. Make it stop, he muttered. Make it stop. Then the crows came. They dropped from the sky like stones, their wings mangled, feathers missing in clumps. One speared Mia's backpack, its beak snapping at her neck. She screamed, batting it away. Another latched onto Raj's arm, tearing his bandage off. Blood welled, black and thick. Run! Lena yelled, shoving them toward a ravine. The flock pursued, their screeches syncopated, almost mechanical. Mia tripped, her ankle twisting on a root. Jake hauled her up, his face a mask of terror. Faster! They tumbled into the ravine, sliding down moss-slick rocks into a gully choked with fog. The crows circled above, refusing to descend, as if repelled by some unseen force. Why aren't they following? Mia panted, clutching her ankle. Ellie shone her flashlight into the fog. The beam diffused into a milky haze, illuminating faint shapes on the ground, bones. Dozens of them. Deer, rabbits, a human femur. All gnawed. And in the center of the bone pile, a fox. Its fur was gone, leaving raw muscle stretched over a broken spine. One eye dangled from its socket, but its head swiveled toward them, jaws working silently. The creature dragged itself forward, hind legs limp, claws scraping stone. Lena stomped on its skull. The crunch echoed. The body kept moving. They're all infected, she said, grinding her boot until the twitching stopped. The fog thickened, cold and clammy against their skin. Ellie's compass spun wildly. We're lost, she admitted. Jake slumped against a boulder, clutching the bloody flannel scrap. Should have gone right. Raj giggled suddenly, high and unhinged. He scratched his arm, now streaked with black veins. It's in me, isn't it? No one answered. Lena checked her knife. We keep moving. Follow the ravine downstream. Now. As they trudged through the fog, Mia noticed symbols carved into the rocks, crude stick figures, animals with too many legs, and a repeating phrase. Don't let them sing. The fence appeared like a mirage, rusted chain link crowned with barbed wire, half swallowed by ivy. Lena sliced through the vines with her knife, revealing a sign, private property, no trespassing. Violators will be prosecuted. The words were punctuated by bullet holes. Since when does a forest have private property? Mia whispered, her camera panning over the fence's jagged perimeter. Ellie's flashlight trembled. This isn't on any park map. Inside the compound, a squat concrete building loomed, its windows shattered. A weather-beaten logo clung to the wall, Vox Corp Biotech. The door hung askew, revealing darkness that seemed to pulse. Jake snorted. Abandoned lab in the woods? Real original, horror movie SH. Quiet, Lena hissed. Her knife glinted as she stepped inside. The lab stank of formaldehyde and burnt plastic. Papers littered the floor, stamped with Project VOXX, classified. Mia picked one up, her glasses reflecting phrases like cross-species viral adaptation and neurological decay acceleration. They were engineering a bioweapon, she breathed. Meant to target livestock, make them aggressive, resistant to pain. But, she flipped the page. It says here the virus mutated. Jumped to non-target species. Raj leaned against a lab table, his breath shallow. The black veins on his arm now spiderwebbed up to his collarbone. Like us? No one answered. Ellie pried open a filing cabinet. Photos spilled out, a deer with exposed ribs, its eyes glowing green, a wolf with tumors bursting from its joints, a human corpse, mouth sewn shut, labeled Subject 12, failed hybridization. Jesus, Jake muttered, kicking a syringe across the floor. This is some Frankenstein shit. Lena paused at a steel door marked quarantine. Handprints streaked the glass, long dried. Inside, cages lay overturned, their locks broken. A skeleton in a lab coat slumped against a wall, fingers clawing at a vent. They tried to contain it, Lena said. Didn't work, Mia replied, pointing to the vent's bent slats. Something had crawled out. In the control room, a dusty monitor flickered to life when Mia jiggled the power cord. Security footage played in grainy clips. A scientist in a hazmat suit injecting a rabbit. It convulses, biting through his glove. A wolf thrashing in a cage, its jaws unhinging to vomit black sludge. A shadow darting past the camera, too fast, too many limbs. The final clip showed a haggard man in a bloodied lab coat, his face gaunt. Log number 47, Dr. Elias Vox, he rasped. The virus is rewriting their DNA. They're evolving. The infected share a hive mind, coordinated, relentless. Don't let them bite you. Don't let them, Static swallowed his words. The screen died. Power's failing, Mia said. The lights did, too. Outside, the howling began. Not wolves. Wrong. The sound was layered, growls, clicks, and a high-pitched whine that made their eardrums throb. Lena peered through a window. Shadows shifted beyond the tree line, eyes glinting green. Weapons? Jake asked, voice cracking. Ellie tossed him a fire extinguisher. Make it count. The first wolf lunged through a broken window, its body a grotesque patchwork of fur and exposed bone. Lena slammed the extinguisher into its skull, but 3 more poured in. Raj screamed as claws raked his thigh. Mia swung a metal stool, her camera capturing the chaos in night vision green. Barricade the door. Ellie yelled, dragging a lab table. Jake froze, staring at his hands. Black sludge dripped from a scratch on his wrist. I'm bit. The wolves retreated suddenly, melting into the dark. The silence was worse. They're toying with us, Lena said. Ellie gripped her shoulder. Look. Outside, the pack circled, herded by a larger shape, a stag, its antlers fused with jagged bone spurs, eyes glowing like emerald fire. It stomped once, and the wolves fell into formation. Alpha, Ellie whispered. The stag charged. Glass exploded. The group scattered as the stag plowed into the lab, upturning tables. Mia ducked behind a centrifuge, filming as the creature's antlers speared the wall. Raj crawled toward the quarantine room, leaving a trail of black blood. Jake backed into a corner, hyperventilating. Distract it, Lena barked, grabbing a flare from Ellie's pack. Ellie lobbed a beaker of ethanol. It shattered at the stag's hooves. Lena lit the flare and threw. Fire engulfed the creature. It screamed, a human sound, thrashing until the ceiling collapsed, burying it in rubble. The wolves howled in unison, a sound that shook the walls. Then, silence. They're regrouping, Ellie said. We need to move. Now. Jake didn't follow. He pressed a scalpel to his wrist. I can't turn into that. Raj grabbed his arm. We'll find a cure. The lab must have. There is no cure. Jake screamed, tears cutting through the grime on his face. He looked at Lena. Do it, please. Lena's knife hovered. Ellie turned away. The blade fell. The woods swallowed the last of the sunlight like a grave. Jake slumped against a moss-caked boulder, his breath shallow and metallic. The wolf's bite on his forearm pulsed, black veins branching toward his heart. Raj knelt beside him, fingers trembling as he peeled back the blood-soaked bandage. The wound hissed, emitting a faint, acrid smoke. It's cauterizing itself, Raj whispered. That's not possible, Mia said, but her camera's night vision lens confirmed it. The flesh was knitting, sealing the bite beneath a glossy, obsidian crust. Jake laughed, raw and broken. Guess I'm Wolverine now, huh? His joke dissolved into a cough, flecking his lips with black. Lena paced, her knife glinting in the moonlight. Ellie watched her, recognizing the calculation in her eyes, the same look she'd seen in soldiers deciding who to leave behind. We can't stay here, Ellie said, though the words tasted like ash. You're just gonna kill him? Raj snapped, his own infected arm tucked against his chest. What happens when I start rotting? You gonna carve me up too? A guttural moan echoed in the distance. Branches snapped, closer this time. The wolves were circling, their growls harmonizing with a new sound, a low, droning hum, like a swarm of flies. Jake grabbed Lena's wrist. His grip was fever-hot, desperate. I don't want to turn. I don't want to be one of those things. His eyes flickered, pupils dilating, greenish film creeping across the iris. Ellie pressed the knife into Lena's palm. Do it before he's gone. Lena's hand shook. She'd executed orders before, but this wasn't war. This was Jake, who'd shared his whiskey flask with her 2 nights ago, who'd mocked her for alphabetizing her ammo. The blade hovered. A twig snapped. The stag emerged from the trees, antlers glistening with fresh blood. Its remaining pack fanned out behind it, eyes reflecting the moon like fractured glass. Now, Lena. Ellie hissed. The knife fell. Jake's scream split the night, human, then something else. The wolves howled in response, a chorus of hunger and triumph. They ran. No one looked back. The river was a serpent of black glass, its surface slick with an oily sheen that reflected the dawn in greasy rainbows. Lena dragged the raft, a rotting hulk of lashed logs, to the bank, her boots sinking into mud that bubbled faintly, as if breathing. It's unstable, she warned, but Mia was already wading in, her breath hitching as the water lapped at her knees. Feels wrong, Mia muttered. The current tugged at her like cold fingers. Raj lingered on shore, staring at his reflection in the polluted water. The infection had reached his jawline now, his skin mottled like moldy fruit. Maybe I should stay, he said quietly. Slow you down. Shut up, Ellie snapped, her voice frayed. We're not leaving anyone else. She shoved the raft forward, her park ranger's hands raw and bleeding. Midway across, the fish attacked. They erupted from the depths, pike with jagged, overgrown teeth, their scales sloughing off to reveal pulsating muscle. One latched onto the raft, its milky eyes bulging as it gnawed the wood. Jake, no, Jake was gone, Lena's mind stuttered, axe raised. Mia screamed as a fish vaulted onto her back, its gills flaring like razors. Lena hacked it off, but another clamped onto Raj's leg. He didn't scream, just stared at the creature, almost serene, as it dragged him under. Raj. Mia lunged, but Ellie yanked her back. The water churned, foaming pink, then stilled. The raft reached the far bank. Mia collapsed, retching, her sleeves torn and a fresh scratch gleaming on her wrist. Lena didn't mention it. The cabin stood crooked, its roof sagging under a blanket of moss. Inside, the air reeked of mildew and rot. A journal lay open on a table, entries devolving into frantic scribbles. They sing at night. The bear won't stop scratching. The wall exploded. The bear's skull was a mangled cage of broken bone, one eye dangling by a nerve. It swung a paw, claws glistening with the same black sludge that pooled in the lab. Lena fumbled for the flare, her hands slippery with river filth. Distract it, Ellie yelled, hurling a chair. The bear swiped, shredding it to splinters. Mia crouched, trembling, her camera still rolling as Lena sparked the flare. The bear lunged. Fire engulfed its muzzle, the creature howling, a sound that mirrored Jake's final scream. Flames spread, consuming the cabin's corpse. The group fled, coughing, as the roof collapsed behind them. In the ashes, Mia's scratch itched. She scratched harder, drawing blood. No one noticed. The forest roared behind them, a cacophony of guttural snarls and splintering trees. Lena hauled Mia uphill, the girl's ankle swelling grotesquely. Every step sent jolts of pain through Mia's clenched jaw, but she bit back cries, unwilling to be the reason they slowed. Not after Raj. Not after Jake. Ellie led the way, her park ranger uniform torn and caked in ash. She'd stopped speaking an hour ago, her silence heavier than the revolver in her grip. Lena caught her glancing at the flare gun strapped to her thigh. Planning, she realized. Always planning. The ridge loomed, its peak shrouded in storm clouds. Below, the infected swarmed, a writhing mass of fur, bone, and glistening rot. The stag led them, antlers crowned with tattered flesh, its green eyes locked on Ellie. Almost there. Ellie yelled over the wind. A helicopter's rotor thrummed in the distance. Hope, sour and fragile, curdled in Mia's chest. They reached the clearing as the chopper descended. The pilot's eyes widened at their bloodied forms. Who else? No one, Lena growled, shoving Mia inside. Ellie stood at the edge, flare gun raised. Go. Ellie, now. Lena reached for her. A howl cut through the storm. The stag lunged, antlers gouging the earth. Ellie fired the flare into the creature's maw. Tell them it's airborne, she shouted as flames engulfed the stag. The pack surged, teeth snapping. Ellie met Lena's gaze, a flicker of pride, of sorrow, before turning to face the horde. The chopper lurched skyward. Mia pressed against the window, watching Ellie's silhouette vanish beneath a tidal wave of claws and bile. Lena stared straight ahead, her fists trembling, not from fear, but fury. At the virus. At the choices. At herself. Mia slumped, rolling her sleeve over the scratch. It itched now, a phantom burn. She scratched harder, drawing blood she couldn't feel. The pilot tossed a medkit. You folks need a hospital? Lena's voice was steel. Just fly. As the forest shrank below, Mia whispered, Ellie knew. About the virus spreading through air. Lena didn't look at her. Yeah. Mia's fingers crept to her neck. Her pulse fluttered, too fast, too loud. The city lights blinked, indifferent. Epilogue. Safe in the city, Mia and Lena hear news. Outbreaks in nearby forests. Mia rolls up her sleeve. A scratch from the raft. She smiles faintly. Fade to black.